Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sunday Show Match series. This is the first episode of the Sunday Show Match series. We're going to be getting show match after show match for you every single week, every Sunday. This week, let's go ahead and introduce the players. We got TSL Polt up against Liquid HerO, two amazing Korean players. They're going to be duking out for the $500 prize pool. Now, before I go into all the analysis and everything, I do want to introduce my co-commentator. It will be Liquid Sheth. Sheth, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, Just happy to be here and to be able to commentate a little bit, a few games.
I know, it'll be awesome. I mean, HerO is your teammate. How are you feeling he's going to be faring up against Polt?
I'm pretty excited. I really am very confident in HerO. HerO's been playing really, really well lately. His PvT just is always amazing me. It's one of my favorite PvTs to watch, in fact. And I've watched him a lot, so it's really surprising that I still enjoy watching him that much. So I'm really just excited to see what he comes up with. He always does very interesting builds, too. Definitely.
Well, let's first go into TSL Polt. Now, TSL Polt won several very huge tournaments, and you can see it. It's the GSL Super Tournament 2011, the SK Asia Champion Tournament in February and in April. This guy has been known to be one of the best Terrans in the entire world. You know, do you have any more information on Polt, Sheth?
Polt, the few things I remember, I don't know if you said that he won the 2000 or the Super Tournament of GSL recently. Yep, you already said that. And then he took 4th place in GSL, I believe, or top 4 in GSL. Very good Terran.
Yeah,
I think he actually beat me at MLG, too.
Really?
Just as a side point there.
Sorry, yo. But, I mean, you have experience with him. Can you explain his style a little bit in the few games that you've seen?
He really likes Marines. That was pretty much what I noticed from him.
Polt is known for really being just good all around. He has great decision making. He's one of those players like I want to say MMA. Now MMA does have a unique style, but you can tell he can play a very huge range of builds. He has been known to cheese once in a while, not too much, but just he's overall just so solid. His macro is amazing. His micro is amazing. He's just an all around great Terran. Multitasking is great, and as everybody knows, if you have an excellent multitasker, Terran is definitely going to be the race of your choice because you can do 10 million things at once. You can drop here, drop there, push in with a few amounts of units and do massive damage. And I'm sure, Sheth, that's what you witnessed with the million Marines that I'm sure you went up against. But his opponent will be Liquid HerO. And Liquid HerO just recently came back from DreamHack Winter 2011. He won that. He got 2nd place at the NASL Season 2, and he finished rather well in MLG Raleigh 2011. It wasn't like, of course, for top 3, but 6th place is it's pretty high, especially for MLG and how steep that competition is.
Yep, you bet. HerO's really good, and his multitasking, I feel, definitely will rival Polt's, so I'll be interested to see how it goes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it will be Protoss versus Terran. We're going to be heading in there in a little bit. First, I want to thank the people that make this possible. First off is going to be AZO Monitors. There are monitor supplier of the NASL. We want to thank Kingston HyperX. We want to thank iBuyPower. And last but not least, we do want to thank GoSuit Coaching. So thank you to all of those sponsors that make this possible. We're going to be heading into the game in a little bit. Sheth, are you ready?
You bet.
All right, man. So let's go ahead and into the game. So we got Polt Prime and Liquid HerO. Let me first say that the starting map will be on Belshire Beach Winter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and see these players duke it out for the $500 prize pool. It is Polt Prime against Liquid HerO on Belshire Beach Winter as the first and starting map. And Sheth, how do you feel about Belshire Beach in particular? I mean, I know you are a Zerg player, but I'm sure you know what are the strengths and advantages of this particular map. How do you think it'll fare for each race?
Well, it'll definitely be an interesting game. It's one of my favorite games favorite maps to watch for this sort of thing. The third base has a really cool kind of that it's far enough away and there are enough entrances, 2 of them basically, but it's cool because of the tower in the middle of both those entrances, that it just makes it for a really cool, interesting dynamic around that tower for if the Terran wants to save it, if the Protoss wants to save their expansion. There's kind of a lot of harassment around that. And then even earlier than that, with the ramp leading to the second base, it's kind of a little bit wider, and there's even no high ground, even at the beginning between the main base and the natural. So all that sort of thing is something you want to take in mind in CVP. Just based on what harassment choices they decide, it should be really interesting to see how that plays out.
Definitely. You know, I know for sure, through my experience playing on this map, all-ins from Protoss are much stronger on this map, just because obviously they have the capacity of pressuring your wall early on. They can snipe a supply depot, especially if they do something like this where they do wall off. They can snipe a supply depot, potentially snipe some add-ons, maybe a barracks, a lot of different things, anything that's pushed up here, if there is some sort of like 3-stalker play like we see in PvP. But right now it looks like a gasless expansion coming out from Polt, and I kind of like this, but we'll see if he's able. Oh, first blood.
Yeah, definitely one SCV down. And I was gonna say too that when they do this sort of wall here, you can kind of tell they're just gonna wall at the ramp with like a bunker. At least that seems like a pretty obvious thing, where they can't really, or they don't really want to wall behind this barracks, because then, like you said, they can shoot at the wall and it really can't be outranged.
Yes.
But if you do it at the ramp below, it kind of works out a little bit better.
Yep, definitely, and it kind of gives away the build a little bit, but there could be a lot of different types of, and what I mean by that, you put a bunker there, it's a pretty high investment, so a lot of people just say, oh, okay, if you put a bunker there, you need to defend this position for some reason. It's probably not an all-in, it's going to be an expansion, because if it was an all-in, you wouldn't get the bunker, but there are some mind games that you can play there. But we'll see what Liquid HerO actually does. He has his first Zealot out already, and the first Stalker is being warped in. There is all the Chrono Boost actually being saved up and allocated towards that Warp Gate, so we might actually see some sort of Warp Gate pressure in this early game stage.
Yep, a big thing too was that HerO actually got a probe up past the 2 Marines at the ramp and managed to see the expansion being made. It's a huge tell. HerO knows exactly what's going on, and while the Terran does as well, from what his SUV found, he didn't actually find this expansion the Protoss is doing. He didn't know if there's any tech coming behind this. So I feel like this, at this point, the small, tiny advantage goes to HerO, but I'll have to see on the builds they actually do choose to use. Yeah,
right now, I think from Polt's point of view, he has to defend against a fast expansion and some sort of variation like a 4-gate. He knows his opponent has not gotten the fast second gas. So it's mainly like mass units, Zealot Stalkers, or an expansion. So we'll see what he actually does, if he scans or if he just goes and assumes that he's going up against a 4-gate.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Polt's doing 3 racks and getting a gas. I like this build. Basically says something like, I want to be safe for the early game and then tech very, very slowly up to something new. Really like that play by Polt. I feel like it's both safe and provides an interesting middle game because you do get dropships fairly fast. Much faster than, for instance, if you just went 4 barracks.
Yep.
A little bit slower than if you went 2 gas right away and only 2 barracks, but with 3, you're also a little bit safer.
Yeah, by prioritizing the minerals, obviously it's much, much better just in terms of growth. You can always produce out of these barracks, so a good job done by Polt. I like this build so far, especially for the map. Liquid HerO already has a proxy pylon. Really interesting. We might be seeing some 3-gate pressure right away. That would be kind of bold in my opinion, but you know, what do you think this proxy pylon could entail?
Oh, well, it's definitely for pressure, like you said, but I would like to say I feel like this pressure is only meant to kind of get in the head of Polt. This pressure is not going to do any damage. He doesn't mean it to do damage. It's only meant to kind of force Polt to be like, well, I wonder if this is an all-in. I wonder if this is a 4-gate. Perhaps force him to throw down a few more bunkers. Perhaps delay the tech up into, you know, medevacs a little bit longer.
Yeah. Like
now, Polt, you know, knows that it's some sort of gateway of aggression, and again, just keeps all his units in front of Polt, so he's also kind of scouting Polt with this pressure. It's a really cool way to do it.
Guardian Shield is actually going to activate right there. The bunker is going to go down, and still, there aren't a lot of Zealots left. You can see all the Zealots have died just there. Only a couple of Marines died. The bunker goes down, of course. But overall, I have to say that engagement does favor Polt quite a bit, just because that's a lot of units that he is that he's wasting right there, but we might see a round number 2 while this bunker is down.
It was something like 3 zealots for a bunker, and maybe a couple marines, so I think it was pretty even. And then it's giving him this option here now to keep harassing because the bunker's down, so yeah, I would definitely have said it's a much better engagement for HerO as long as he doesn't lose these sentries.
Well, we'll see what happens with this. I mean, the sentries are now out of energy, so they can't force field anymore. It might speak a little bit for the strength of this particular push right now, but he's going to keep going in. A round of zealots warp in, and these marines and marauders are able to actually push all this army back. That's the problem right now, but another round of zealots and sentries coming in right here. He does need to just wait a little bit. He needs to be a little bit more patient, get that sentry energy up, and then he can continue on. But at this point, I mean, you can see that the starport is already being constructed. We have the bunker up now, and I think Polt will stabilize from here on out.
Yep, but I think that was really good by HerO. He managed to take an economic lead with that pressure because it was only a 3-gate. If it was a 4-gate, he maybe wouldn't have been able to make as many probes. But because it was only a 3-gate, it put pressure on Polt, stopped him from making as many SCVs as he wanted to. Actually, I think he even killed a couple SCVs. If you look at units lost tab, let's see.
Yeah, he killed 8.
Looks like, yeah. So pretty good amount there for sure. And in the same time, he didn't lose any except for the first starting one. Managed to take his gases at expansion and take out 2 robo facility. I think HerO's definitely in an advantageous spot, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's just supply is very similar. Well, 20, I guess, isn't that similar, but it's close somewhat.
Yeah. The one thing I have to say for HerO is that his tech is slightly behind his opponents, but of course the economy, as you were saying, the 4 gas is already up. It's been up for quite a long time. He can produce very heavily. We can see double upgrades actually underway. I love this type of strategy, and this is the current, I want to say, bless you, this is the current metagame of PvT in my opinion. Just this heavy upgrade style, and then you get a lot of momentum as you hit the 1-1 and then the 2-2 and then the 3-3. You could basically take map control when normally you wouldn't be able to, because medevacs would be floating around, going ahead and just harassing all over the place, taking map control. You can now rely on your warp-ins because you have the super good upgrades. The zealots will be able to clean up any particular drop.
Yep, I feel like it's kind of cute that he's getting these upgrades here. I think it's kind of like he knew he had enough of a lead that he could defend and get these upgrades, and like if the Terran hadn't had any damage at all, maybe he could have took his 2 +1/+1 upgrades at the same time. He's not even able to get them now, and that's the sort of thing that'll spiral into a late game. Like, he's only now getting +1 attack. He should have, or he could have a second eBay getting +1 defense as well if that pressure hadn't done so much early on. So those are the little things that you notice have changed, you know, because of early pressure and because of early builds. And it's pretty cool. I like
if this was Thorzane, and of course they have very different styles, but if this was Thorzane, Thorzane would already have 1-1 by now. That's how, you know, upgrade focused he is. And I do like that type of style, but you know, as we can see here, already 1-1 out for Liquid HerO, and that means these units are supercharged, especially with the Guardian Shield and the power of these sentries. Looks like a little bit of engagement coming out right here. Polt is moving forward. This might be a really bad decision, but Guardian Shield still is not up. A nice little elevator with the front units. The Marines and Marauders were picked up and brought behind the force shields. But I think Guardian Shield would have helped a lot more in that position, but still, Liquid HerO is in a good position.
Yeah, just trading a little bits of his army, traded a lot of the mineral heavy zealots and a little bit of the energy to actually get some Marauders and Marines, which is pretty good, I think. Especially because, again, he's just delaying the Terran. He's not taking damage while he's getting his upgrades. He might lose a few, like he just lost that Zealot, excuse me. But it wasn't a huge deal. And we'll just have to see if Polt's like kind of continued pressure of these units and leaving them over there is going to pay off.
HerO needs to be a little bit careful. It looks like another engagement might ensue right here. Both players are just skirting around the outsides of where they're capable of attacking. Just 2 Marines and Marauders are going to pick off a single probe, but for now, I think the reason why we see Liquid HerO being so passive is because he invested so heavily into getting those upgrades, the 2-2. So he just wants to wait out for that.
Yep, but he has shards. He's going to really push him back here, I think. I think the Terran might have made a mistake expanding this early without something to defend here. But we'll just have to see. The Terran has a lot of army. HerO's kind of forcing him to stim and pressuring him again here.
Oh, nice.
Really nice. Yep.
But in the meantime, there is a big drop coming at the natural. Looks like HerO will work in a big round of units. Is this going to be enough? Zealots are so good at dealing with Marauders, but we'll see. They can kite them very easily. In the meantime, the big battle is going on right now. The Medivacs aren't able to actually heal in time. Guardian Shield does go up. Is it going to be enough? The Zealots are dwindling at this point. There is a single Immortal. It's going to go into the front lines. It looks like Polt will be able to hold this off. And in the meantime, HerO actually loses out with the Zealots. The Marines and Marauders are way too strong. And now pushing forward, the one gas is sniped off. A great position for Polt right now.
Definitely. He played that really well. Managed to hold, kind of pulled some SCVs, and kind of abused the fact that HerO did want to go for a late game. He was getting 2-2. And so his army at that point wasn't that strong. It wasn't as strong as Polt, who only at that point had 0-0 or 0-1. Like, even now, he's only now just getting 1 armor. So he might be behind on upgrades, but now he's really, really heavily ahead on supply.
Yeah. Normally, when we see this upgrade heavy style, the Protosses are normally staying on 2 base for quite a long time. I think to push out there was a little bit overdoing it, just because obviously you lose so much position, so much positional defense in your main. So at that point, obviously Polt really, really took it to him and was able to punish his opponent for going so far out and not having enough to cover all bases. I mean, those are very expensive upgrades, and that's a lot of units you're actually giving up, you know, not to have those early upgrades instead of having a lot of units. But we can see that Polt looks like he wants to bring the aggression on his opponent. We'll see if this is effective or not.
Yeah, definitely looks like it has a really good chance to be. Especially with Vikings there, killing off that only Colossus, only Sentry Archon Zealot, which can be really strong, but not without some sort of support, and not in such really small numbers.
Yep, not in those numbers. GG comes out, and Liquid HerO will fall. So Polt Prime is going to take game number 1. Very, very impressive play by Polt.
Indeed, very nicely played.
You know, I think it just came down to that one push out with HerO going to the 3rd of his opponent. Yes, I think HerO could have gotten a lot more out of that, but still not defending that drop accurately. Obviously, it weakens his economy so much, and that just snowballed. Polt had 3 base, his opponent had 2 base, and you can't really do much at that point. So kind of difficult, but do you have any last thoughts about that game?
No, everything still there's fine, and I'm just ready to start the next one.
All right, so we'll be back after this break. We're going to continue this show match series with Polt Prime against Liquid HerO. HerO is up, or excuse me, Polt is up 1-0. We'll be back. Don't go away.